Testing. 1, 2, 3. J dang, you made it. So did you, Lynx. Glad you guys can make it. Alright. And nothing much, chilling as always. And now I'm about to do a live stream. Well, shockingly enough, I did see the Barbie movie digitally with my mom, and from my point of view, it was cringy as hell. But I did like the ending, though. I'm not going to spoil anything, but yeah, the ending was pretty heartwarming and interesting. But other than that, I'm so glad that it's, yeah. Alright, got my video prepared. Yeah, as of right now, I'm actually developing a little clip as I'm doing the live stream. And also, we're going to be doing a little reaction as well. Pirate video? Wait, my video? Wait, hold on, give me a few. Wait, the video I made or another video? Hello, Alien Gamer 626. Glad you can make it. Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Getting the reaction prepared. First, gotta make sure.
Oh, Reese's trees, there's chocolate on your branches and peanut butter.
Crap.
7.
Oh, sure. Alright. Gotta make sure volume's prepared, and while I'm doing that, I'm sending out the link. Also, along with that, I'm also gonna send out to my Discord friends as well. So yeah, if you guys want to join, the time is now. And while you guys are waiting, and while I'm waiting, I'm gonna set a little something up right here. Oh, hang on, I gotta take this. Hey, Dad. Sure. Yeah, I'll check right now. I'm back. My dad forgot his wallet, so he's coming back to get it, and he's going to Costco. Hey guys, you made it.
Hey, what's
bro.
up?
And not much. Just chilling as always.
Oh, cool. Give me 1 second. I need to charge my laptop.
Got it. I'm gonna go blow my nose. I'll be right back.
Okay.
made
Take your time, bro.
17, you made it.
Be right back. I'm gonna get something to drink.
Got it. In here.
Okay, I'm back. Wow, these are pretty cool games.
Oh, Sonic.
Yep.
What's your favorite?
I have a favorite, to be honest.
Oh, just saying.
I'm back for good. Since this might be a Roblox show.
Oh, welcome back. What was going on?
Yo!
Hello, boys.
Oh, finally! You came back with the milk.
You came back. You came back and revived from the dead.
Yeah, I'm back. Oh, there's a lot of people here.
Well, yes. Hello.
I'm back. Zane. Zikrish.
You do understand who's actually in the stream right
I
now?
know who you are. I know.
By the way,
Silence.
Em.
Yeah.
By the way, Em, are we gonna be playing like Roblox or something?
Play CTBT. We might do it tomorrow morning if you're up for it, but yeah. You know, we can.
There's a game I just got off streaming from. You know Star Wars: The Old Republic, right?
Oh, I know that game. I always thought it was real interesting. And do you want me to get it?
Yes.
I just left Roblox. Got bored of it. Probably gonna be playing some Rivals or something.
I
Is
was
my mic
just
quiet or
on
something?
that game like not even 2 minutes ago.
Damn. Wait, do I have you added on Steam?
I don't think so. Maybe you could add me.
Oh yeah, sure. Why not?
Guess I
By the way, you're silent, right?
don't have.
Yes.
All right, yeah, cause
Yes.
like I forgot.
Yeah, it'd be me.
All right. I'm gonna head to the. Oh wait, no, I can just technically head to the Empire and then the Smart Idiot.
His puppet is really cool and interesting.
And like,
I love how I'm still called the smart idiot in the server.
It's subscription content.
that's just hilarious.
Ah, cool. Random user.
Yeah.
Also, long time no see. Long time no see.
For real.
Yeah.
Hey, Shadow. Long time no see, bud.
Man.
Oh, I shouldn't.
So, you guys want to play? Oh, I've already reacted to it. So, you guys want to play Roblox, or what do you guys want to play?
Oh, I was just in a Roblox game.
Oh, and I'm about to.
I have an idea.
What up?
You know that one Roblox instance called Delta Ring, correct?
Yeah.
No, I've never heard of it. Sorry.
I think M64 Bros knows.
All right.
You remember that one Roblox Halo thing?
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I've played that.
Yeah.
It's a really fun one.
Yeah. And we can, as we are getting ready, I can also watch this as well. React to this as well.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Open up
Maybe like
Nathaniel Bandy.
maybe
Zane!
like a JoJo character or
Mr.
something.
Man.
Yes.
Man, it's been a while.
Where is
you know what? I guess I can do
Random Man?
All right, I'm gonna react to this, boys. So yeah, other than that, here goes nothing.
Yeah, here goes
lots
nothing.
of Sonic games to 100%. I'm aware that there's like 8,000 2D Sonic titles on things
Hold up,
like
I'm gonna
Game
go AFK
Gear
real
and Neo
quick.
Geo
Oh,
Pocket
I might
Color,
miss out
but
on
I'm
some
only
stuff.
counting the major releases. Because let's be honest, there's a small chance of fully completing what I have already. But I still have high hopes. Let's get this marathon cracking and see what happens.
Day one.
What's this? Sonic the Hedgehog in widescreen? My timer is blue now? What will science think of next? Yeah, I'm playing Sonic Origins for the 4 classic games simply because the life system is more fair and I can retry special stages as much as I want. In order to 100% Sonic the Hedgehog, I just need to find all 6 Chaos Emeralds. To do that, I need to hold 50 rings and jump through the big ring at the end of the stage. Despite finishing the 2D Mario Marathon recently, I was actually pretty hyped to play these games. I've recently played the 2D Sonic games casually, and almost all the ones I'm playing are great. Well, mostly. Despite playing this game and the others lots of times in the past, I wouldn't say that I've mastered them compared to 2D Mario. I've only ever 100% Sonic Mania. The other ones I've never fully beat, so I wasn't really sure what I was in for. One thing I can say for sure is that getting Chaos Emeralds in most of these games is completely counterintuitive to how I like playing them. This is Sonic, so obviously I want to play as fast and sloppy as possible. The ring system is an incredible mechanic because it allows me to do that.
Indeed.
The fact you can get hit as much
Gotta
as
go
you
fast,
want
marathon
as long
begins.
as you're holding
Yeah.
at least one
Real.
ring is genius. And because of that, getting 50 rings and then trying to not get hit by a spike or some enemy feels like a chore. I'm forced to play all these levels at walking speed. And because the stages are so big, it takes much longer to get through them. A lot of Sonic fans claim that Sonic games aren't meant to be played fast, but it's more about exploring the stages because of how multi-layered they are. And I can definitely attest to that to some extent, but that doesn't change the fact that special stages can be a pain to get. As for the Sonic 1 version of these stages, I mean, it's pretty iconic, but it hasn't really aged that well. You just kind of bounce around and pray that you get the emerald. But that's why I'm playing the Sonic Origins version, since I can use coins to retry special stages if I make any mistakes. But anyway, I was moving through the game at a snail's pace. I grabbed the last Chaos Emerald and could plow through the rest of the game, which is fine. I gotta be honest, Sonic 1 is just okay. The majority of the levels aren't very fun to play, even when you're going through it casually. I do love the music in every stage, and some of the bosses are great, but this game has aged about as well as Mario Bros. 1. Which isn't saying much. But after a little over an hour, I took out the final boss and finished the game. What do I get for collecting all the Chaos Emeralds? This cool ending of Sonic pointing at me. Well, that was worth it. And also, Sonic 1 took me 1 hour and 10 minutes. That's honestly a lot faster than I expected, because I tend to get stuck on special stages for a while. But up next is Sonic CD, of course. And at first, I was a little worried. I'm not very familiar with this game. I've only played through it like once or twice, and I've never tried to 100% it. In order to do that, you need to find all 7 time stones. Yes, not Chaos Emeralds, time stones. They're totally different, guys, I swear. To get access to the special stages, again, I need to hold on to 50 rings and avoid getting hit until the end. In Sonic 1, that wasn't too bad because I've memorized most of the level layouts and the game itself is slower paced. That is not at all the case for Sonic CD. These levels are massive and you'll constantly get bounced around without any sort of control. So I thought that maybe I'd run into trouble, but it actually went smoother than I anticipated. Since you can still do 1 special stage per level and there's 3 levels per zone, I was able to knock out all the special stages at the beginning of the game. And the level design doesn't get too crazy until halfway through, so I didn't have too much of a struggle. The special stages for Sonic CD are some of the most unique in the entire franchise. You run around a level in a 3D-ish space and have to blow up a bunch of UFOs. This is a really fun idea, but the last couple took me quite a few tries. The hitbox seems to be a bit wonky as well. I jump and it looks like Sonic passes through the UFO sometimes. Oh, and also, touching the water drains your timer faster, which I'm only just now learning at today years old. I know Sonic doesn't like water, but wow, they really took that idea to the extreme. But at least if you're getting low on time, a timer UFO spawns in the middle, so you can potentially keep going for a bit longer. As janky as the special stage can be at times, it's one of the most memorable ones. I just love how exotic the backgrounds can get, and the music has this perfectly spiritual energy to it. As for the rest of the game, well, I sure did bounce around a bajillion times. I remember in the mid to late 2000s when it was almost impossible to play Sonic CD, and everyone always said that it was a super underrated gem. And now that it's easily accessible with multiple different ports, I can safely say that I disagree. Sonic CD isn't a bad game per se, but the level design gets overly confusing way too often. And the bosses are some of the worst in the series. All of them are brain dead easy. Even the final boss takes 4 hits, and what the heck, I'm done already? Yep, it only took 1 hour and 26 minutes to finish Sonic CD. I did not think I'd be getting through this game so quickly, but hey, I'm not complaining. We have made infinite flowers. You're too cool! Wow. If only that were true. So of course, we're on to Sonic 2. To 100% this one, we need to find all 7 Chaos Emeralds. Yeah, get used to hearing that a lot, because Sonic really likes shiny things. So I always go back and forth between Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. It's still highly debated on which one's the best, but I think Sonic 2 has a slight edge. Everyone considers Sonic 3 as well as Sonic and Knuckles as one game. You actually get yelled at if you say otherwise, so in doing so, half of Sonic 3's levels are slow and tedious. Sonic 2, on the other hand, is a smaller game, sure, but just about every zone has fantastic flow and catchy music. well, everything except Metropolis. That one still sucks, and nobody likes those frickin' grasshopper guys that throw the arms at you. And then there's the damn starfish. Like, I could go on for a while, but we already know how it all works. Even so, Sonic 2 is fantastic and has aged quite gracefully. But moving on to the special stages. What's nice about Sonic 2 is that I don't feel like I have to play the game in slow motion. I just need to get 50 rings and then run into a star post. This is significantly easier than playing to the end of a level, and I can even hit multiple star posts in one level to get multiple emeralds. And now we have the famous half pipe where you have to get a certain amount of rings or you fail. When I started Sonic Origins, I was hoping I could just play as Sonic for the entire run. But apparently, the story mode by default gives you Sonic and Tails. There might have been a way to swap them out, but the only reason I care is because Tails can make the special stages a lot harder. The later stages can be incredibly tight, forcing you to not only get most of the rings, but also avoid the large bevy of spikes that cover the ground.
I see you found my Suicide Squad comment on that video. Pleasure to finally meet you. And yeah, you found me.
Thankfully, since I'm playing Sonic Origins, the field of view is much greater than the original version on the Genesis. So that means the reaction time is a little more forgiving. But even so, I was struggling on some of these stages. Tails jumps like 5 years after you, so it's really easy for him to hit spikes, which makes your overall ring count go down if he's holding on to rings of his own. But after a bit of attempts, I managed to get all the emeralds and could finally use Super Sonic. Wow, a good reason to actually collect all the emeralds. And you also get this cool picture right before the credits, and wait a second, I'm done already again? What? Hold on. How did I only spend 1 hour and 43 minutes to 100% this? I genuinely thought I was going to be stuck on the special stages for way longer, but I guess not. So now we'll check out Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Fun fact, this is actually the first video game I ever beat. I remember playing this on my computer when I was like 5 or 6 years old. And I would basically get up at like 4 a.m. to play for an hour, and then as soon as I heard my mom's footsteps coming downstairs, I'd turn off the computer and pretend I had just woken up. The disc also looked like this if you were curious. But anyway, to 100% this game, I need you to say it with me. Find all 7 Chaos Emeralds. But that's not all. I also need to find all 7 Super Emeralds. Wow. You'll get these by finding the big rings hidden throughout all the levels, which is by far the best method for accessing the special stages. Sonic 3 is probably my most played Sonic game. I've always adored this one. Everything about it is vastly improved, whether it's the graphics, the new elemental shields, or adding in mid-bosses. There are a couple of downsides, however, to the Sonic Origins version. Well, mostly just one. Some of the stages have different music due to licensing reasons, and the replacements are nothing special. It's a true shame to not be able to hear Ice Cap Zone, which is exactly why I'm playing it for all of us right now, because this song is jamming. But then there's the Sonic and Knuckles levels, and these are a bit more of a hit and miss. Once you get to Sandopolis Zone, the game slowly starts to crack a bit. Each level has all these new gimmicks that are just boring, and the bosses, while admittedly are creative, aren't very fun to fight. Sonic 3 and Knuckles' biggest strength combined comes down to the emeralds themselves. You'll get the Chaos Emeralds in the first half of the game, and then in the second half you get the Super Emeralds. What's the difference though? Well, you get Hypersonic instead of Supersonic, which is basically the same thing, but he flashes from white to yellow. So not really that different, but it's still kind of neat. I also don't have much to say about the special stages. It's Blue Spears, and they're all incredibly easy. The main reason this game took longer compared to the other ones I've already played is just the vast amount of stages. But after,
as of watching the video, I also created a Mario Kart. I also created a Mario Kart room if you guys want to join. So give me a few.
Let me go ahead and get mine, because I am a little bit, I'm a little bit bored.
All right, yep.
So,
room right here, so if you guys want to join, you guys
I'm a bit bored, so I'll just entertain myself.
Sounds like
apparently, I was playing Fuck Night.
Fortnite.
Hey, M64 bro, sorry, it's already on low battery, but I already got it charged already.
All right, sweet.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh damn, my Switch is dead.
Mine's at 33%.
Mine's at 86% because I always recharge it sometimes. While I'm waiting for the other boys to join, and while I have my code right here, I'm proceeding the video.
All right, well, I think I might get off early or something.
All right, understandable. I'm proceeding the video. Even if you get off while I'm playing the video, It was fun having you on.
All right. See ya.
Cool. Hey. Ah, cool, Vin Diesel. That's pretty cool. You're making a drawing of me. All right, proceed the video.
After taking out the final boss as well as the secret one, Sonic 3 was done. I managed to 100% it in 3 hours and 18 minutes.
I'm working on
so
it
not
right
too
now.
bad for what's essentially 2 games in one. So by some miracle, I still had time to continue and moved right away to Sonic Advance. To 100% this one, I need to find all 7 Chaos Emeralds with any character and beat the game with all 4 characters.
Wow.
You heard that right. I actually have to play through this game 4 times to 100% it. This is required to unlock the Moon Zone, which is the secret boss at the very end. Now, I definitely wasn't planning to fully beat Sonic Advance today, but I might as well make a bit of headway, so I started things off with Sonic to get a feel for the game again. Sonic Advance is another game that I grew up playing constantly. I spent countless hours playing this on long road trips and have a lot of fond memories. For the first run, I didn't even bother going for Chaos Emeralds. Since you can get them with any character, I decided to save the Emeralds for when I played with Tails, since he can just, fly everywhere and make getting to the special stages much easier. So I was just having a good time reminiscing on how much I used to love playing this. And I think Sonic Advance has aged pretty well for the most part, although the bottomless pits can be quite annoying at times. And there's a little bit of a screen crunch, but the game itself usually isn't hindered from it. I struggled a bit with the Cosmic Angel Zone boss, as well as the X Zone final boss. It took me a while to realize that the final boss is actually really easy if you figure out to just stand as far away from him as possible. But that took me some time to figure out. After a bunch of deaths, I finally beat the game as Sonic, and I still had some energy to keep going,
M64?
so I decided to start the Knuckles run.
What's up?
He was
I will. All right, I will be muted. I'm gonna wait till my thing is charged a bit more.
Got it.
So I will need to. Got
it. Understand.
leave the room in thing.
No worries. You do what you need to do.
All right, thanks, M64.
My pleasure. All right, proceeding the video.
was slightly easier to use just because you can glide and climb up walls. But in general, it was about the same difficulty. I got fairly far, but didn't quite finish this run
Metal
before heading to
Knuckle
bed.
boss fight. Day 2.
The next day has begun, and I came to a really weird conclusion. This is the fourth 100% marathon I've done this year, and I think after all this time, I've finally gotten used to what it's like to do this. 12 hours a day doesn't feel that long anymore. This has started to become second nature to me. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but for the time being, that's great because I'm going to need this energy. But moving on, the Cosmic Angel Zone boss was much easier compared to Sonic, since I could cling onto walls to help avoid energy balls and spikes. And the final boss also went over a lot better, since I, knew what I was doing. So it was time to start the Tails run. Before we continue on, however, I need to thank today's sponsor, Disney Speedstorm. And you'll make through like new race all new season, some of your favorite Disney and Pixar. Talk about the special stages. To get to them, you'll have to look for a well-hidden blue spring. You'll bounce on that, and then you're taken to a 3D level where you're surfing through some sort of space vertex, and the goal is to collect a certain amount of rings. This is much, much easier said than done. I think a special stage like this would have worked a lot better on a proper 3D console and not the freaking Game Boy Advance. The hitbox on the rings are so insanely spotty and awkward that even the first stage is difficult. And if you lose, well, too bad, so sad. You're not allowed back in. You're forced to restart the level entirely. The trick to getting these special stages really comes down to memorizing where the rings are and trying to execute as well as possible. There are a few things that help out. Well, kind of. You've got this spin move that increases your hitbox and makes it a bit easier to hit rings, which can be quite useful in some areas. There's also these automatic springs that launch you into a row of rings, but for whatever reason, the spring doesn't work 100% of the time. You have to actually line yourself up with the spring correctly, or else you might miss all of the rings. Needless to say, I spent a fairly long time on these stages, just because it came down to practice and figuring out the routing. It also took me forever to realize that if you spin through the orange circles, you get a bunch of rings for that. How have I never known that until now? After what felt like forever, I finally got through all the special stages and finished the game with Tails. That was incredibly frustrating, but now there's just Amy left. And wow, is Amy quite the contrary. She can't curl into a ball when jumping and can't even spin dash. She does this little skip thing instead, and her only method of attack is using her Pico Pico hammer. As a concept, it's a cool idea to have Amy work so differently, but it also means you have to time your hammer attack before hitting literally everything. Enemies, boxes of rings, you name it. I was kind of worried that Amy was going to make bosses a lot harder, but honestly, it wasn't that bad. Once you figure out how to time the hammer, it just came down to being a bit more strategic with attacking. You can't just do the spamming nonsense like with the others. You need to actually be more cautious and plan out your moves. The only boss that was easier was the snow one because the hammer's hitbox is huge, and I could easily spam him to smithereens. This ended up being a pretty interesting way to run through Advance 1, but I do wish that you could at least spin dash or even just roll down hills. There were a few parts where I was stuck at a big hill and needed to build a lot of speed to get across. But that aspect surprisingly didn't come up very often.
Shit.
After finishing Amy's run, I finally...
Alright, just gotta share this to my community post. Sharing this to my community post before I proceed. Random. Present. Man, that is so cool. I love the red mustache as well as always. Red and black is my main. Thank you so much, Vin Diesel. I really appreciate it. All right. Time to proceed the video.
unlocked the Moon Zone. You play as Supersonic and have to take out the big robot guy. At first, I had no idea how I was supposed to hit him and kept losing, until I eventually figured out that you just need to dash into his head, and after a few tries, it was over. I 100% Sonic Advance in 5 hours and 20 minutes. Considering how long the special stages took, I'm kind of surprised it was only a little over 5 hours. Next up, Sonic Advance 2. Oh, God. This is another game I grew up with, but never knew how obnoxious going for 100% was. In order to do this, I need to beat the game with Sonic, Cream, Tails, and Knuckles. I also need to find all 7 Chaos Emeralds with every character. Now, why on earth do we need to do this? Well, it's the only way to unlock Amy, the boss option in Time Attack, the Tiny Chow Garden, True Area 53, and some songs in the sound test. It's a lot of unlockables, but it doesn't sound that bad, right? In previous Sonic games, you just need to collect some rings or find a hidden spring to get to the special stages, and there you go, you're done. Well, let me tell you, Sonic Advance 2 goes out of its way to make getting to the Chaos Emeralds as time-consuming and painful as humanly possible. You see these fancy-looking special rings? Well, we need to find 7 of them for 1 act per zone, which equates to 28 different times. And if you die at any point during the level, the special rings that you already collected don't save. And if you are successful and get them all and get to the end of a stage, you get 1 shot at the special stage. If you mess that up and don't get enough rings before time is up, you're not getting a Chaos Emerald. So, first off, just finding these damn things is a pain in the ass. So many special rings are put in spots that are high in the air and only possible to grab 1 time and never again. It's either that or they're just so well hidden that you'll never find them without some sort of guide. And do you know how easy it is to die in Sonic Advance 2? There's tons of bottomless pits like with the first Sonic Advance, and there's so many spots where enemies or spikes will hit you just because you didn't see it coming. It'd be one thing if special rings were saved after deaths, but no, Advance 2 tries to be as cruel as possible and wants you to suffer. This was absolutely miserable to play, and I'm not gonna lie, I was beginning to lose my patience. Doing this with Sonic was especially awful because he's not that useful. He can't fly around like Tails or Cream can. No, instead he just goes kind of fast and misses rings all the time. Thanks a lot, buddy. I think I spent close to an hour on just the first stage. And this is just 1 character. I've got to do the freaking special ring hunt 7 times with Sonic, and then times that by 4 to include everyone else. And I thought Super Mario Bros. Deluxe for the 2D Marathon was bad. No, I think Sonic Advance 2 might be the worst game I've ever tried to 100%. And what's frustrating is this could have so easily been circumvented. If they just allowed us to keep rings near death and maybe allow fast travel from checkpoint to checkpoint, that would have been so much better, because then you could at least give yourself a retry to get rings that you missed. Due to how big the levels are, it almost feels like I'm playing a Metroid game where I have almost no useful abilities to get around and no clues as to where the special rings are. I was constantly pausing and checking a video guide because there was no other way I was going to get through this. This is going to sound strange, but I was having some serious information overload. Because I was just following a video guide to a T, I could barely grasp or remember what I was supposed to do. You all know what it's like when you're in school to take some quiz. You go home and memorize a bunch of facts, or you don't study at all, I guess. And then when the quiz is over, you forget everything you learned. Yeah, that is exactly what it's like to get the star rings in Sonic Advance 2. But thankfully, the special stages themselves aren't too bad. You run around in a 3D room collecting rings, and the hitboxes are much more forgiving than in Advance 1. If you collect rings fast enough, you can build combos and make the rings you get worth it. There's not much else to say beyond that, although stages 6 and 7 get really damn tough. The only thing that was annoying about these was that you constantly have to hold up to move forward. Which, I mean, duh, of course, that makes sense. But you need to make very fast left and right turns to get rings in succession. So it was difficult to do consistently. So I found that by using my right thumb to hold up and my left thumb to push left and right, it was easier to maintain a consistent speed.
Wow.
Man, was I struggling. Halfway through the game, I was getting really mad at how frustrating it was to get the special rings. So after like an hour or so, I took a small break and got some tea and just sat in silence. I fired up some Spotify and YouTube videos and was making progress a little bit faster this way. I don't know what it is, but throughout the marathon, when I wasn't listening to the game itself, I was able to focus a lot better. Maybe it had to do with the fact that I wasn't thinking so much about how hard it was to get these star rings, and I was more focused on either the music or random videos. But after quite a few hours, I finished the game with Sonic. But of course, I wasn't done yet. It was time to move on to Tails. And thankfully, he can fly, which made getting star rings a little bit easier. I still had no idea where most of them were, so it was a lot of pausing to check the guide and inching my way forward just like last time. But just the fact that I can fly was amazing, because a lot of hard-to-reach star rings were accessible with backup flight. So after several more hours, I finished the game with Tails and unlocked the sound test. Wow, that was so worth it. But I still have a bit of energy to continue. At this point, I was on a call with a couple friends, and I was just moving along while playing. I decided to start Cream's Run next because why not? And I played a couple of zones before ending for the night.
Day 3.
Oh boy, I can't wait to play more Sonic Advance 2. Man, I am just so excited. Oh, I can't even explain. Even though Cream can fly, the flight time itself isn't as long as Tails. This made a handful of star rings harder to grab, but it was still useful in a lot of areas. But the best part by far is Cheese, because this little chow makes every boss fight an absolute joke. Cream calls Cheese out on the battle line and will automatically hit any boss it sees. It's hilarious that we can do this, and very satisfying after struggling through this game. Okay? How did I break the game? Dude, I can't even jump. I'm just stuck running for an eternity. I wasn't really sure what to do, so I just let the timer run out, and once I died, I spawned at the final boss. Oh, thank God. You know, maybe the final boss was just really far away and it wasn't actually a glitch. I mean, it's possible. But anyway, I cheesed the boss with Cheese, and I unlocked the ability to replay bosses in Time Attack. Wow! Now to just beat the game with Knuckles.
Yep.
I don't really have much to add at this point, but I will say that he kind of felt like Sonic 2.0. There were some times where the gliding and climbing helped, but it wasn't as often as I was hoping. But considering that this was my 4th run in, I was actually starting to memorize where some of the star rings were, and it didn't feel as daunting.
Yeah, I loved
After
it.
some time, I beat the game yet again as Knuckles and finally unlocked me. Amy. Okay, I don't know why Amy is talking to me directly, but you know what? She's actually kind of cool to use now, because she can curl into a ball, which makes her playable. So all that's left to do now is true Area 53 with Supersonic. It looks exactly like the Sonic Advance 1 extra stage, but it works very differently. Instead of hitting the head, you have to bounce back either the green energy balls or the laser thingamajigs. And this is actually like the worst thing ever. Oh my goodness, was this boss dreadful! It's so easy to get knocked around and be completely vulnerable from all the projectiles. And when you're vulnerable, you can't hit back the lasers to actually do any damage. And this happened constantly. Look, I think Sonic Advance 2 is a fantastic game if you're just playing it casually and not going for the special rings, but the fact that my reward for all of this effort is just some annoying supersonic level doesn't really make it worth it. But I'm already in this deep. I just need to play it over and over until I slowly get better at it. And eventually, I beat the secret boss and was done with Sonic Advance 2. This game took me 12 hours and 6 minutes to 100%.
12 hours.
Good lord, what a slog that was. I knew it was going to be rough going in, and I am glad that it's over. And up next is Sonic Advance 3. To 100% this one, I need to find 10 Chao in all the zones, find all 7 Chaos Emeralds, and get gold medals in all the levels. This is
that took me years to find them.
trilogy, and 100%ing it isn't nearly as painful. The 10 Chao are found throughout all the levels, and even hub worlds in each zone, and you only need to get them once for it to count. Once you find them all, keys start floating around all the levels, and those are used to access the special stages. It still took me a while to find all the Chao, but it wasn't nearly as much of a headache, especially because of the team mechanic. The fact that you can pair any of the 5 playable characters and they all get special team moves unique to them is so damn cool. It really changes the gameplay and adds a lot of depth since you can customize your moveset. My favorite combo has always been Knuckles and Tails, because you can get a super high jump as well as just flying around. As for the special stages themselves, well, once again, you only got one shot at it. If you mess up, then your key goes away. But at the very least, it's pretty easy to recollect multiple keys, so you can try the special stages multiple times, technically. But they really don't get that hard. You're just standing on Tails' plane collecting rings again. There's also moments where you'll go through a blue ring and start getting coins with a 2x combo, so it's fairly fun, I'd say, and at least the ring hitboxes are more forgiving, so I just kept on chugging along, slowly grabbing all the Chao and getting through the special stages. After knocking all that out, all I had left to do was get the medals, but it was already pretty late, so I decided to head to bed.
That music.
I'm ready to go once again, still feeling pretty good about the marathon. It seemed like I was slightly ahead of schedule, which is great, but little did I know that I would make a massive mistake today. So all that's left to do in Sonic Advance 3 is the medals. These are based on how fast you play per stage, so it's basically just like a time trial. I had no idea how fast I needed to go in order to reach the gold, and was having trouble looking up the times I needed. That's when I stumbled onto an IGN guide from over 20 years ago. Wow. This was the only place I could find that showed me all the times for all the levels. There's something really charming about unironically using a guide from like 2002 in the year 2023. So shout outs to whoever made this. When I was checking how to 100% all these games, not all the information online was super well documented. For Sonic Advance 3, I thought that I needed to get gold, silver, and bronze medals in all the stages. So that's what I was doing. I basically replayed all the levels at least 2 times to get all the medals. This took an extremely long time to do, but it was by far the most fun I had with the entire marathon. I didn't have to play the levels in slow motion half the time. I just tried to get through the levels faster and faster, and it was really exhilarating. And then for the bosses, I used cheese most of the time and then just sat around, waiting until the timer was at a certain point so I could get the bronze medals. You know, it is kind of odd that I need to get all 3. And I didn't realize how badly I f***ed up until the very end. I was at the final boss, got a gold medal, and then next thing I knew, I unlocked the time attack for bosses. This was devastating.
Wait, hold on. Replay that? Replay that?
Fast you play through a stage. So it's all the time, all the levels at least 2 times to get medals. This took an extremely long time to do, but it was by far the most fun I had with the entire marathon. I didn't have to play the levels in slow motion half the time. I just tried to get through the levels faster and faster, and it was really exhilarating. And then for the bosses, I used cheese most of the time and then just sat around, waiting until the timer was at a certain point so I could get the bronze medals. You know, it is kind of odd that I need to get all 3. And I didn't realize how badly I f***ed up until the very end. I was at the final boss, got a gold medal, and then next thing I knew, I unlocked the time attack for bosses.
That's how you do it. Oh my
Devastating.
god.
I didn't have the bronze medal yet for the final boss, yet I unlocked the boss time attack that I was trying to unlock. Because
Hey, what-
apparently, I only needed to get gold medals in all the stages and not get all 3 of them. And I'm only just learning this after getting all 3 medals in the entire game. Oh dear God. I just
Oh, wow.
wasted at least a few hours replaying stages way more times than I needed to.
Oh,
So
man.
now I have no idea if I have a chance of finishing this challenge on time because of this mistake. But I can't think about that right now.
All
At
right, the
least
game's
I
about to
unlocked
start.
everything I needed to unlock and just needed to finish the extra zone. This time we teamed up with Eggman to take out Ultimate Gemerald, which is really damn neat. The idea is to kind of throw Eggman at Gemerald to attack, and it's really funny to look at in hindsight. But once again, it's another annoying level. You constantly get bombarded by projectiles, so you have barely any window open to do damage. I was also getting really fatigued in general, so having to play this wasn't sitting well. After taking him out, I beat Sonic Advance 3 in 12 hours and 19 minutes.
Wow.
Man, I definitely could have saved at least 3 to 4 hours if I solely went for gold medals, but there is only so much I can do about that. Might as
Hey, you
well
wanna know
just
how
move
long it
on
took me
Sonic
to find
Rush.
every
To
challenge, every
100% this
stage?
one,
How long?
It took me 10 years.
Damn, what?
Yeah, on the same save file.
Holy hell. You know, as for Curryland now, ever since I've unboxed it, Super Mario Land 2 DX, I'm still stuck on the final boss where you get to fight Wario. Yeah.
Yeah. I found out why I couldn't find all of them. I only played as Sonic the whole time. I never
Damn.
chose to play as any other character. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. And with that, let's proceed.
I need to find all 7 Chaos Emeralds with Sonic and finish Blaze's story as well as the extra zone. And that's it. They simplified the unlock requirements a lot compared to the Sonic Advance trilogy. I feel like the discourse for Sonic Rush flip-flops all the time, but I've always found it to be a really great game. It's another one that I grew up with. I still remember getting it for Christmas when I was like 12 years old and being completely enamored with it. I thought the gameplay on the top and bottom screen was so cool, although looking back, it's kind of tacky. But I still love this game to pieces. The music absolutely kicks, and the new boost mechanic adds an amazing sense of speed. There's still too many bottomless pits, but the controls are so tight that they're usually pretty easy to avoid. Getting to the special stages is also incredibly simple. You just grab this handle and then boost for like 3 seconds. You'll be warped to the special stage, and these are some of the best in the entire series. Using the touchscreen, you move Sonic to collect rings and avoid the spikes. What makes this so awesome is just how responsive the controls are. By the end, the spikes are plastered all over the screen, and it never feels unfair when you get hit by something because of how accurate your control is. It's just great all around. This is the game
I
I needed
win.
after suffering through Advance 2, and even Advance 3 to an extent. The only thing I really struggled with was the final boss. If you've played it before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This boss has some of the most irritating attack patterns, and they take tons of practice to avoid. And if you get hit too often, not even rings will save you, as they'll keep flying higher and higher into the air to the point where you can't recollect them. This boss took almost an hour to beat, but I ended up knocking him out and started Blaze's story. The only real difference here is you play the levels in a different order, and she has this floating ability. So it's nice that she plays a bit differently, but otherwise it's all the same levels. I somehow managed to beat her entire campaign and decided to end for the night. All that was left was the extra zone, but I was wiped. Man, I am never doing 2 back-to-back marathons like this ever again. This was way too much to handle, and that's saying a lot coming from me.
Day 5.
For some reason, I woke up at 5 a.m. and couldn't get back to sleep. So I said screw it and fired up Sonic Rush. All I had left to do was the extra zone. So I knocked that out in about 20 to 30 minutes. Like the advanced games, it was just kind of frustrating constantly getting smacked around by lasers and stuff. I mean, it's a cool concept to be able to switch from Sonic and Blaze, but I just don't find these secret fights to be very enjoyable. It feels like the game is slowing things down for no reason, or maybe my brain is slow from a lack of sleep. Either way, I ended up 100%ing Sonic Rush in 5 hours and 42 minutes. I also got one of the funniest ending screens I've ever seen. Congratulations! Accompanied with Cream crying and a blurry Sonic dancing in the back. Look, I understand what's happening,
What the heck?
but this is so goofy with no context. Next
Why
was
would
Sonic
you-
Rush Adventure.
I don't understand why Sega would do that.
Lapse in my judgment. To 100% this one, I need to find all 7 Chaos and Soul Emeralds, fully upgrade all 4 vehicles, clear all 100 missions, collect all decorations, unlock all sounds, movies, and dialogue, and beat the secret level Deep Core. That is a lot to do in a short period of time. Sonic Rush Adventure has always been such a mixed bag for me. I've tried to play this game quite a few times, but I always put it down after a few hours. But most importantly, does this cutscene draw any familiar comparisons? If you were also thinking of Danganronpa 2, then you'd be correct. All right, just hear me out, okay? Sonic
Okay, 2 shells were thrown at me.
on a beach. Hajime is washed up on a beach. Sonic and Tails are woken up by a mysterious person and they don't know how they got there. Hajime is woken up by Nagito and you don't know how you got there. 2D pictures of Sonic and Tails with Marine accompanied by lower third text, just like a visual novel. Danganronpa 2 is a visual novel. There you go, guys. I just confirmed that they're basically the same game. So go ahead, share that with a random guy on Twitter. Also, I did finish Danganronpa 2, and I was just as hooked to that game as I was with the first one, but I won't go into that for now. Anyway, side tangent, my bad. I saw it and I had to bring it up. There's actually a lot to explain here, so I'll try to keep things simple. The main thing we need to do is find all the islands in the game, as these islands have the levels. In order to get to them, we need to build vehicles. Now, how do you build the vehicles? Well, with materials, of course, just like real life. So you get materials for clearing levels, and once you've gotten enough for a specific vehicle, that's when Tails will build it. You need to build all 4 vehicles because they all travel different distances, while some of them, like the submarine, submerge underwater, and they're the only ones that can find hidden underwater entrances. That is the main gist of just beating the game, and it's very weird at first. It gets to the point where you quite literally have to grind Sonic levels to obtain enough materials for all the vehicles. It's a bizarre process for a Sonic game, but thankfully the stage select shows you where to get specific materials, and the amount you get depends on how fast you play the stage. So the more you play, naturally the better you'll get at them, and you'll earn larger quantities of materials. You'd think it'd be annoying to replay the bosses or levels, but I didn't really find it to be that tedious. It's silly, but the levels themselves are fairly well designed. Bottomless pits are much less common, and the themes are super extravagant and unique. The bosses are also much better than the first Sonic Rush. You can actually hit them multiple times instead of just once per cycle. So I was actually having a lot of fun getting through the main chunk of the game. The first thing I did for 100% completion was fully upgrade the vehicles. Because yes, all 4 of them can upgrade twice. All the upgrades do is let you travel farther distances in the water, but it's a really good idea to do that first since it makes reaching new islands much easier. And I haven't even mentioned that when you're actually on the vehicles, you have to play touchscreen minigames. They're not bad minigames per se, but it does feel a little tacky and unnecessary. But hey, when you get to a new island just one time, you can fast travel there afterwards, so you don't have to play the minigames every time. After about 4 to 5 hours, I made it to the final boss and beat the main game. But my work was nowhere near done. I still had a lot to do. One of the most important things is to keep talking to all the NPCs, because a lot of them unlock missions that I eventually need to get to. There was also a guy where I had to give him a bunch of rings so he'd build decorations for the islands, although strangely, you only need to give him rings a few times, because the rest of the decorations are built after beating specific missions from NPCs and then talking to those same NPCs again after beating those missions. I know, it's getting a little confusing, but the basic idea is play the game and then talk to all the NPCs every once in a while and you'll be good to go. The next thing I worked on was getting the Chaos Emeralds. To access these, you just need to find where Johnny is. Now, where's Johnny? Out in the sea, of course. It's some shark guy and he wants to race us. So we have to beat him in a race in order to get the Chaos Emerald. This is definitely the weirdest way to get an emerald in any Sonic game, but I shockingly love this. The races are exhilarating. You really need to put in the effort to nail the ramp tricks to build speed and stay ahead of Johnny. The races get gradually harder, but it never feels frustrating. The only difficult part is just finding him, because without this map online that just shows where everything is, I don't know how else you could spot him. So I ended up getting all the Chaos Emeralds and then focused on finding all the hidden islands. Once again, I just used a completed map online to do this, and it wasn't too bad. Doing all of this is just super time consuming. But after finding all the hidden islands, I began my dive into the missions. At this point, I have played a few just to try them out, but a lot of them weren't unlocked yet, so I didn't go too crazy with it. The bulk of the missions revolve around a few different things. Do a bunch of tricks, get a high combo, find a hidden medal, beat the boss or stage with one ring, reach the goal by a certain time, and collect a bunch of rings. These are looped over and over for a bunch of the main and hidden levels. You may think this would get kind of monotonous after a while, but actually, I really like that these are included. Now, are these great for the marathon setting that I'm currently in right now? Absolutely not. But from a casual perspective, missions are a great way to add and expand post-content to a game. They may not all be super creative, but at the very least, they make you think about the levels you've played in different ways. I was able to get through some of the missions, but a lot of them were hard. And I mean really, really hard. I unfortunately was stuck on most of the time limit missions. I'd spend anywhere from 20 minutes to a couple hours each on just one. The reason they're so hard is because you're required to play as optimally as possible and basically memorize the entire level layout. The time requirements are insanely strict. It's hard to explain without actually trying the missions yourself. You need to boost at just the right time, take all shortcuts available, use the R button jump perfectly, and don't mess up ever. There's video guides I was watching online for help, but good God, look at how amazing this person is. Is this guy a freaking TASBot? How can someone be so good at this game? Or maybe I'm just really bad. It's probably a bit of both, but either way, this was a big problem. I still had 5 games to tackle, and there's only 2 days left. The time was ticking, and I was feeling less confident about being able to complete this challenge. I finished around half the missions and then called it for the night, hoping the next day would go over better.
Day 6.
Today determines if we're going to 100% all the 2D Sonic games or not. I need to 100% Sonic Rush Adventure today and also complete Sonic Colors DS. If I don't do these two things, I'm basically screwed. But I marched on forward and figured out all the problems I was having yesterday. Every mission that I was missing just came down to talking to the right NPC. So that was simple at least. The most interesting ones I played were all the touchscreen missions. These were super tough versions of the vehicle minigames. I actually had a lot of fun with these, despite a couple of them taking some time to figure out. It's kind of cool that they gave them a bit of a nod in the mission mode. As for the Soul Emeralds, which I haven't really touched yet, these boiled down to completing certain missions. This is really odd considering the Chaos Emeralds have a bigger sense of importance, while the Soul Emeralds are just kind of there, I guess. But hey, at least they were all easy to unlock. So after getting the Soul Emeralds, I unlocked the Deep Core level and took out the Egg Wizard with relative ease. This secret zone is actually pretty fun compared to the other ones. You switch back and forth between Sonic and Blaze and just fire away at the Egg Wizard. It's nothing too crazy, but at least I'm not annoyed playing it this time. But that really scratched the surface for what I still had to tackle. The time limit missions were starting to break me. Either I'd spend 20 to 30 minutes on one, or I was so baffled and confused on how to get through it that I quit and moved on to another mission. I could probably spend an entire video talking about these missions, but I just want to bring up Hidden Island 16 as one example. This isn't even that big of a level, but the time limit is so strict, and I needed to make the craziest ass jumps. All I could do was just press forward, mission after mission. I was slowly getting them knocked out, and next thing I knew, I had 3 missions left. All of these were time limit ones that I've already been stuck on all day. I tried them all again, and I didn't beat them. I just don't have the time to build the skills to clear these missions. 51, 82, and 55 were all I needed to do. What do you unlock with these? 51 gives us sounds 13 and 14 in sound test. 82 gives us sounds 22 and 23 in sound test. And 95 is sound 69. Nice. Oh, and I guess I technically haven't done mission 100 either, but that only unlocks when you've beaten the other 99 missions, and that gives us a Sonic head decoration. It's now getting so late that I already know the fatigue is coming. The only choice I have is to start Sonic Colors DS, and maybe I could come back to Sonic Rush Adventure tomorrow. You want to know how long I spent playing this game? 18 hours and 7 minutes, and I still didn't 100% it. That's an hour longer than Super Mario Bros. Deluxe to give you a frame of reference on how crazy this game is. So I begrudgingly started up Sonic Colors. To 100% this one, I need to find all 7 Chaos Emeralds, and that's it. So it's back to the basics. In fact, the special stages appear like they used to. Hold 50 rings until the end of the level. Now, we're not including the normal Sonic Colors game because that has a lot of 3D sections, while this one is entirely in 2D and is clearly using the Sonic Rush engine. So
Did you see that?
The right choice to include it. One of the biggest differences gameplay-wise is that you can lock
How
on
does it?
enemies.
Okay, I'm
kind
recording
of
this.
indifferent to the change here because the game still
Alright,
plays pretty
Percy
much the
granted.
same. But oh no!
What the?
Oh, I completely forgot this game has red rings. And if you get them all, you actually unlock infinite boost, which means to actually 100% this game, I also need to get all 180
Oh, God.
red rings. Just
Oh my
end
gosh.
me already.
Well, that's something I
There
never
is
got.
no way in hell that I'm also going to get all the red rings on time. And a lot of them can only be accessed by using specific wisps. And on top of that, this is still a Sonic game, so the levels are massive. A lot of these red rings are hidden.
This game, when I play on the DS, it takes
way to
me
say
1 year
that
to beat it,
time
another
to
year
go.
to get all the Chaos Emeralds, and I still haven't gotten all the red rings.
So what do I even do now? I ultimately decided to just beat the game.
Hey, at least this
I
part
didn't
was
even
cool.
bother going for all the Chaos
Yeah.
Emeralds. I just
That's
played through until the very end. I'm feeling a bit defeated, mostly because I wasted so much time in Advance 3, and the missions were just so tough in Rush Adventure. The only idea I had at this point was to finish the last 4 games tomorrow, and if I had any energy left, I'd maybe finish these last 2. But hey, Sonic Colors DS is still a lot of fun. The levels are very well designed, and I like how each of the wisps are utilized in really clever ways. The special stages are also great. It works the same as Sonic Rush, but you collect colored orbs instead. Outside of a random crash, getting through the game was pretty easy. There's only a couple zones
That's some
required
good
for each
music.
world, so it wasn't that many levels to tackle. I somehow beat the final boss, and at this point, I'm running on pure fumes. I am so mentally exhausted after struggling through Sonic Rush Adventure all day today, and I have no idea how the last day is going to go now. I spent a total of 2 hours and
Not
51
bad.
minutes on this game, but I don't know if I'll be able to complete it.
The final day.
With 4 games left, I had to start with Sonic 4 Episode 1. To 100%
That
this
game
one,
was
I
garbage.
need to find all 7
Yeah.
Chaos Emeralds. I can't believe I'm playing this again. I played it once in the past and immediately uninstalled it from Steam. That's how much I hated it.
What?
But here we are today, playing one of the most mediocre games of all time. There's a lot of
I
problems with
originally
Sonic
loved it,
4,
but
I think the
damn, I was
biggest one
wrong.
is the lack of soul. Nothing about this game screams confidence in itself. Every aspect of it borrows from Sonic 1, whether it's the title screen, the levels, the special stages, and even the bosses to some extent. There's obviously a few new things like your homing attack and the fact that you don't roll down hills naturally anymore.
Let's get back here.
That's just great. And the bosses technically have new attack patterns, so I guess that's neat. I just don't know why the game is called Sonic 4 when it's just trying to be a reimagination of Sonic 1. But anyway, one of the best parts about this game is that it's short and getting to the special stage is pretty easy. It's once again like the older games, get 50 rings and touch the big ring at the end. The special stage looks exactly like the Sonic 1 stage, but actually plays very differently. Instead of having the level rotate on its own, we have
I threw
full
that bomb.
rotation. So in a way, this is kind of the best way to bring it back. And also, if you're about to hit a death zone, you can easily pause and restart, which is admittedly pretty awesome. But there were a few stages that I had to reset from getting hit by enemies and losing all my rings. At this point, after doing 2 marathons in a span of a month, I've officially lost my patience. I was getting really frustrated because I had to replay a few levels to get the emeralds. And the special stages themselves were a lot harder than I remember, especially the last one. Oh my god, the last one is so freaking stupid. There's so much bouncy nonsense that can easily knock you into the death areas. The only strategy I really had was the pause buffer, which just entails me to pausing every few frames so I can be sure that Sonic was headed towards safe areas.
Hey, at least you can control which way you're going.
Yeah, that's a good sign at least.
Yeah, I played it on mobile, and you can like tilt your phone, and it tilts the whole map.
What the hell? My game just
Oh.
crashed? Oh, please tell me it saved. Don't worry, the game did actually save. The final boss was also just the worst. I don't even think it's that hard, but I'm just so beaten down by this challenge. I think I lost to the Death Egg like, I don't know, 5 or 6 times before finally taking him out. And then the game was over, and oh man, was this one painful. It took me 2 hours and 35 minutes to finish.
Not bad.
This should have only taken me like an hour, but whatever. I'm over it. So now it's time for Sonic 4 Episode 2. Oh boy. To 100% this one, you have to find all 7 Chaos Emeralds again. It works exactly the same as it does in Episode 1. Get 50 rings and touch the big ring at the end. Thankfully, Episode 2 is not nearly as bad as Episode 1. They fixed a lot of small problems with the controls, and the levels are a lot more creative this time around. It's not anything special, but it's improved, I guess. The special stages are a bit better too. It's once again the half pipe, but now there's a boost button. Ooh, neat. Dude, even the color scheme is copying Sonic 2. I really don't understand why Sega at this time was leaning so hard on nostalgia, but at least you can still retry as much as you want, and most of the stages are easy. Well, most, except for the very last one. To the almighty heavens, why is this one so impossible? Again, I could just be playing bad from fatigue, but the other 6 stages weren't a problem. You have to get so many rings here and need to use the stupid
sorry,
lasso
guys.
thing
I
with
think
tails
I
to
gotta
at least get
go.
a chance at clearing this.
All right, it's
The
fine.
main thing I was
See you
confused
later.
about was the
Alright,
huge
see ya.
loop of rings.
Yeah.
I had no idea how
Hey.
to get up there until I
Yo,
realized that that's what the
you're-
boost is for. Okay, so I just have to use boost. Cool.
Let's
So I
go.
tried that, and oh, fine.
we're just
The
going
boost
around.
momentum is so clunky that I missed most of the rings. It is extremely.
You know what? I gotta
difficult
start
to
live
get a
streaming
large
again.
majority of these rings.
Yeah,
because the
we need
last
to.
section of the stage
We should do
demands
more of this.
500 freaking rings. And you want to know how many?
I could
rings are in the
probably
last
stream
section?
tomorrow.
Almost none.
Sure.
You just get some scraps.
I'm
Now,
gonna
yes,
execute one of my
obviously, if you
friends.
get
This
the
is my
bunch of
second
8 or
time being
12
on
rings in a
stream.
row, you do get a
Stream
little
hard
bonus of
stream.
20, but those are not only super
Or
hard to
mainly
get,
like-
but it's
like
still
10
not that many.
times
You have no
plus,
choice but to
stream
go
hard
into this
stream.
last
And I love
section
being
with
on
at least
stream.
400 rings bare minimum.
Yeah.
That is a crazy ask considering the bulk of rings are in this janky ass loop, and the rest are surrounded by spikes. I spent almost an hour on this one special stage. Man, am I even going to get to Sonic Superstars today? I am astounded by how long the Sonic 4 games are taking to finish. I expected both the games to take like an hour each, but I did not account for how annoying the special stages can be. Something else I realized is that getting Super Sonic is kind of a huge waste of time. Sonic 2 and 3 have around a dozen zones, if not more, and you can get Super Sonic really early in those games. But with Sonic 4, there's 4 freaking zones, and you don't get Super Sonic until halfway through the game. So yeah, I guess it's kind of nice that I can use them for like the last levels, but then the game is basically over by the time you unlock him. When I beat the final boss, Sonic 4 Episode 2 took me a total of 3 hours and 42 minutes to finish. I can't believe how long this took. I really need to cook the rest of today. Thank God Sonic Mania was next. Finally, I'm back to a good Sonic game. To 100% this one, I need to find all 7 Chaos Emeralds as Sonic and unlock all 32 Blue Sphere stages. The only thing I won't be doing is getting gold medals in the Blue Sphere stages because it's not necessary. There's a few modes I'll unlock by just playing and beating Blue Sphere, hence why I'm not going to bother doing golds. But dude, I was so excited to jump back into Mania. I will never forget when this game came out. I was having the craziest goosebumps after like 5 minutes of playing. Finally, a new Sonic game that had perfect physics, fantastic level design, and really fun special stages. It felt like years since we got something really high quality from the franchise. It was truly a magical experience. The only thing I really struggled with was a couple of the special stages. Actually getting to them is easy enough, you just have to find one of the many big rings in each level, but they can get pretty tough. Or maybe I'm just really tired and I'm just playing bad. After finishing Sonic Mania, all I had to do was knock out the rest of the Blue Sphere levels. As I was going, I slowly started to unlock the other modes and only got stuck on a handful of Blue Spheres. Thankfully, it's really easy to retry these levels.
Damn.
I just kept replaying Green Hill Zone and jumping into the same 3 checkpoints. After a few hours, I managed to get all the levels and actually 100% the game. It took me 5 hours and 19 minutes. The only problem was that it was already getting late and I hadn't even started Sonic Superstars yet. So I got the game running. To 100% this one, I need to find all 7 Chaos Emeralds, beat the story mode and Trip's story, and unlock all the store inventory. So I started playing and I realized the challenge was over. I got about 1 hour and 37 minutes into it, but it didn't matter. Even if I were to stay up all night and finish this game, there's no way I could complete the challenge. I do believe that if I stayed up all night to finish Superstars, I could probably do it. I imagine it'd take around 6 to 8 hours, but what's the point? Because by then, there's only a couple hours left, then I still have to beat Sonic Rush Adventure and Sonic Colors DS, which would take way longer than that. So I just stopped playing. And that was it for the challenge. Wow. Trying to 100% the 2D Sonic games was way more ambitious than I was expecting. Some of this came down to just not being as prepared as I should have been, but it also came down to the fact that I think I was stretching myself too thin doing 2 marathons so close to each other. But I want to continue doing these marathons because I think they're really fun to do still, and they are quite compelling. So here's the deal. Next year, you'll still get 4 of them, but they're going to be spaced out every 3 months, which means the next marathon is going to be next March. And with that, thank you all for watching.
Why is there? I haven't played this map in a while.
Huh.
Wait, is that the end of the video?
Yeah, that was the end of the video. Oh man.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, if I were to beat every Sonic or Mario game in 2 weeks or 1 week, I would just beat it casually without 100%ing at all.
You know what? I do the same thing
Get your
because
feelings.
when I try to 100% a game, it either takes forever or I just never get through it.
Yeah. Man.
There was a bop over here for some reason. I don't know why.
Somebody took my shell.
I don't want to do this.
Oh. I think the one that definitely suited Nathaniel Bandy that gave him the most time he needed was the 2D Mario games for 2 weeks. Like, I would say, if you would 100% like something like Extremely Hard, I would just say go for 2 weeks. That way you'll have a lot of time.
Oh no, blue shell, blue shell, blue shell.
You'll have a lot of time to try and complete all that. And I'm thinking about it. Let's watch it.
Dang it.
Beating. Hold on, 100%.
Oh yeah, and if any of M64 Bros subscribers are, they're already watching the stream already, y'all can subscribe to me channel.
Oh, sure. You can subscribe to Asa as well. Yeah, go subscribe. Shoutouts go to Asa as well.
Yeah. Shout out goes to me.
Cool. And I got a lucky eight.
Anyways, I'm gonna play some piano and electric piano while being in here.
Cool.
All right. I keep getting first. Like
Cool.
every time now.
All right, time to do the Mario
2 weeks
one.
may sound like a long time to 100% all the 2D Mario games, but that's because we're including all the mainline games, most of the Game Boy variants, and Super Mario All-Stars since it's a full-on remake. Going for 100% in a lot of these games takes much, much longer than you'd imagine. So we're in for quite the ride. And I say we because Simple Flips was crazy enough to join me.
Hey, M64 Bros, I'm gonna go right now. So I'll see you later.
All right,
Together and race to see
Okay.
who
All right, see ya.
can finish all the games
Got it.
first. If for whatever reason you don't know who Simple Flips is, he's incredibly
Sure, watch
good
a
at
little bit of
3D
Dragon
and 2D
Ball
Mario
Mario
games,
bit by
so
bit.
I expect to lose this race. But hey, who knows what'll happen, right? Before going in, I needed to plan way more than the other marathons that I've already done. I created this entire spreadsheet that has guides for alternate exits, hidden coins, and secrets. This guide may be the only reason we'll be able to 100% all these games. I've honestly been nervous about this for months.
Hey, M64
I was
Bros.
exhausted after a week of
Yeah.
playing.
Do you think the next Mario Kart game is gonna release on Switch or Nintendo's next console?
I would say kind of both. I would say both, since I have a feeling it could be a cross-gen game, I'm assuming.
Hmm.
Yeah. However,
It could be like that.
there was a rumor mentioning something about Bandai Namco collaborating with Nintendo, working on a quote 3D and 2D project. And it was 2 projects. We have information on what it could be, but since Bandai Namco did develop the Mario Kart arcade games, there might be a high possible chance we might get some news about that.
They did the Mario Kart arcade GP games. They
Yeah.
put Pac-Man in it.
Yeah. Oh, the
So if they collaborate on the next Mario Kart game, they're probably gonna do the same thing.
Yeah. Maybe. And I have a feeling they might do it anyway. Let's proceed.
in 3D Mario, and then Mario Kart. What the hell is 2 weeks of this gonna be like? Well, let's find out.
Day one.
The first day has finally arrived, and this was the one I was most worried about. Simple Flips and I began, and this insane marathon has started its course. To 100% Super Mario Bros., it's really simple. Beat all 32 levels without using any warps. I'll also be using the same controllers the game's console was on. Now, thankfully, I've beaten this game quite a few times in the past. So while I'm used to SMB1's wonky physics, they still took me a bit of time to get the hang of again. This marathon dynamic is much different compared to the other ones I've done, because I had Simple Flips on call with me the whole time, and immediately I noticed my mood was better than usual because the both of us were going to be clawing our way through these games together. As for the game itself, I mean, we've all seen it and played Mario Bros. 1 100 times. It's not the greatest game to go back to, especially because so many levels look the same and the jumping momentum can be super clunky. While building speed and running feel fine, jumping is tricky because Mario will kind of lock in place depending on how fast he's going. It's like this in most 2D Mario games, but the physics have been heavily polished as the decades have passed. And the springs are also very inconsistent. It can sometimes be hard to tell how much distance you'll cover after jumping off one. Also, if you get a game over
I got
in this
first
game,
again.
you go back to World 1-1. Well, at least that's how it works if you don't know that you can hold A on the
I might end the live stream right here because this is the final race and I've got some other stuff to do. But other than that, it was a great live stream.
Yeah. In fact, I had to play a electronic piano while doing this live stream. If you heard from my mic or really didn't hear it.
Cool. I can hear it.
Yeah, I think we could all hear it. It probably played on the live stream as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. Subscribe for more. I might do it tomorrow if I can. Probably not, but maybe. But other than that, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.
Yeah. In
I
fact,
might live stream tomorrow
let me
too.
play in some ending music for this.
All
In
right.
fact, let's do it for one final song.
Hit me. Also, Bob's
Here we go.
here. Bob. It was a fun race indeed. Bob.
All right, that's enough now. All right, see y'all later.
All right, peace out, Ace.
All right, see you later.
All right, bye-bye. Bob. All right, peace out, Ace.
All right.
Bob, I hate to tell you this, but we are ending the live stream, but there's always next time. Bob, I hate to tell you this, but we are ending the live stream, but there's always next time.
Okay.
Don't worry. There's always next time. Play next time.
Okay.
If you want to have a private conversation, we can do it on Discord before I go to bed if there's something wrong. Yeah, it's fine. No worries. It's going to be fine. No worries. It's all fine. I'll help
All right,
you with
well,
the problem
I'm
you're
out.
having.
I'll see y'all later.
All right, peace out. Sorry, silent, but there's always next time, and we will go live next time. Other than that, that's it. That's all we have for this video. I don't know what's wrong with Bob right here, but hey, Bob, if you're watching this video, I could have a private conversation with you on Discord if there's something wrong, if there's something upset with you. Or, I could just a little bit. Is there something wrong? No, I could just a little bit. Is there something wrong? No, I could just a little bit. Is there something wrong?
I can't talk about it.
It's fine. We'll talk about it later. Can't talk about it. That's odd. Yeah. if you're watching this live stream, if you want to talk to me about it on Discord, we can definitely do it. Never seen anything not Seth for. I hope you're doing okay if you're still watching this. Yeah, it was fun. Other than that, I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Boy, I'm tired.